what you are arguing is this. Mr. Faraday took the gun from his evidence bag and shot Mr. Rill. Then, the wounded Mr. Rill found the opportunity to take the knife and strike back. Upon being stabbed, Mr. Faraday died on the spot, and Mr. Rill died thereafter. If that's the case, then how do you explain this? Take a good look at the order in which the bodies are piled. No! 9! Mr. Faraday's body is lying on top of Mr. Rill's. Therefore, Mr. Rill must have died before Mr. Faraday. Impossible! Yes, I can agree that it seems strange no matter what angle you approach it from. Which means that the real mystery behind this crime... No, 9! Not so fast, my Zedress! What's now? I can simply think that you ought to think a little more outside the box. And that it's even more clear now that the incident started with Mr. Faraday's murderous intent. She sure bounced back quickly. An explanation won't be enough this time. It's going to take some very decisive evidence to prove her wrong. It's just it was just chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Rill's. The two bodies fell into a pile, which indicates that they attacked each other at the same time. It really doesn't matter in the slightest as they fell in the opposite order. I just know that Francisca's explanation isn't absolutely correct. All I have to do is find a hole in her logic. Once I do, I can present her with the evidence that proves their contradiction. Pressing someone's testimony in order to gain some time to think. You're really one trick pony, aren't you? It's too bad your tricks only works on fools. That wasn't my intent. I simply wish for more details as to show how Mr. Faraday ended up on top of Mr. Rill. Someone's impatient. I was just about to explain everything to you. So, do you think you could hold on for a minute? Yeah. Francisca, I'll make you a deal. I'll hold on if you hold on to that whip of yours. Oh, I'll hold on to it tight as I whip you. There now that you've quieted down a bit, I'd like to continue if you don't mind. The two fell on top of each other. Don't you find that to be a bit strange? Not at all. Ah! I can see it in her eyes. She's dead set against me from the bottom of her heart. My Zedress, once again I'm done here. You'll see that there's nothing strange at all. Now then, the two men fell into a pile. What do you mean by they attacked each other at the same time? I assume Mr. Faraday had the two different weapons on his hands. He made to attack Mr. Red while holding both the knife and revolver. And then, after Mr. Faraday fires the gun, Mr. Red grabs the knife and as he was falling and stabs Mr. Faraday. This is how Mr. Red landed up on the bottom with Mr. Faraday on top. At closer range, that is more than possible. Yes, it is possible, but... Well, if you have any other ideas, then show me what you've got. Didn't we prove that there was no burn markings? There should have been burn markings at close range. Oh, I will. And to that extent, I like for you to apprehend what you just said to your testament, a pen. I guess that means add. I don't see any point to that, but as you please. The fact that fact indicates is that they attacked each other at the same time from close range. Are you saying that they attacked each other at the same time from close range? Exactly. Mr. Faraday points the gun at Mr. Red's chest and pulls the trigger. Mr. Red then took the knife from Mr. Faraday and stabbed him before he fell unconscious. The dead Mr. Faraday instantly fell on top of Mr. Red from the stabbing, pinning Mr. Red under him, where he died shortly thereafter. And that's how they ended up on top of each other, with no contradictions to be seen. Do you really believe that they fell on the exact opposite order in which they were attacked? My Citrus, you are not listening to a word I am saying. They both attacked each other at the same time, and Mr. Rel fell first by chance, leaving Mr. Faraday to just happen to fall on top of him. Then Mr. Rel died shortly thereafter, pinned underneath Mr. Faraday. That is how it happened. So the two men attacked each other, with Mr. Rel randomly falling down first. The fact that the order that they attacked each other in varies from the order that they fell and doesn't cause a problem for me. However, there's definitely one certain aspect that I'm having trouble swallowing. And that's when they attacked each other relatively at the same time. Let me see. I think something about the handgun. There we go. So you believe they killed each other at close range? Sorry, but that's not possible because of the burn mark. Just as it is written in the crime scene notes. The firing of the handgun did not leave a gunpowder burn on Mr. Rel's clothes. Therefore, Mr. Rel and the gun must have been separated by a distance of at least 2 or 3 yards. Yes, this is by far the biggest contradiction. The two bodies are piled up on each other, yet the gun was fired from a distance. And with there being no chance that Mr. Rel moved that far after being shot, that only leaves one possible explanation. What a completely foolish line of foolish thought from a thoroughly foolish fool. If I'm not right, then who was it that made the first move with the intent to kill, huh? Who? The person who attacked first with the most intent. That would be neither man. Here in this room, contradictions appear no matter which man we claim attacked first. Thus, there can be only one explanation. There was a third person here, which would explain that open window that you happen to be standing next to. It was that the third person who killed both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Bell, and set their bodies up to make it look like it was a double murder. That third person is the real culprit. Miles' address. There's just one thing you're missing. Evidence, of course. Correct? Exactly. Everything you said up till now is nothing but a story played out into your head. However, this is where the real test begins. Can you prove that there was a third person involved in the crime? Of course. If a third person were truly here, that fact will resolve the glaring contradiction. The proof that this has all been set up, made to look like they killed each other. I'll present it and lay bare the final piece of the puzzle that's not yet in place. Man, what happened to me? Talking back there. What the heck? And something. In the gun, Mr. Faraday's hand, and the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand, and the plastic bag in his blood on it. These two items point to the presence of a third person. How so? Recall Detective Gumshoe's testimony. I was in the hallway the whole time. By then he had struggled, and then he had peeped of a struggle. If there wasn't a struggle in this room, then there shouldn't be any plastic bags on the ground. Meaning that someone else must have deliberately scattered them around. Do you not see the possibility in this? Disregarding the gun for the moment, there's a high probability of blood splatter when a knife is used on a person. If the culprit had the knife with a plastic bag around it, they could have used the bag to catch any blood splatter when they withdrew the knife. Then, by spraying a few more plastic bags around, mixing the bloody one in with them, the arrangement of the room to make it look like there was a struggle between the two, they were able to conceal the presence. Yeah. Nice. That's a good point, Miles. Looks like we've got a long way to go in this investigation. Yes. Hey. What the heck is up with you, pal? Mr. Bad, I advise you to place Detective Gumshoe under arrest. What?